Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Jaggle B. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Ordinal's the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for another OnChain hour, and this one is going to be very, very better. very better than the markets, right? I'll just try to make up words and sayings at this point, guys. I'm really kind of hoping for a V-shaped recovery at this point. I think so. We're looking back at the last time a tariff destroyed the markets, right? What Trump did in 2018 December, it's very similar to what is happening today, and the S&P is getting wrecked. I mean, we're down almost 11% in the last 3 days, another 4% today, and crypto and Bitcoin. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to follow macro until we can kind of build our own type of environment, right? So it does suck, but Bitcoin is actually holding up a lot better than a lot of the macro stuff. So we're getting into a lot of that stuff. It's going to be a lot of macro based, at least the next couple of days, maybe next week or so, because we just have to wait for, better times. We have to wait for a risk on, but there's still a lot of news, a lot of stuff to cover. And you guys are here every single day, like always. So let's get the show started. Bring my partner here as always, Mr. Iago B. What's up, buddy?
What up?
What's up, man? How you feeling? How was everything?
I'm feeling okay, man. I do see the strength that Bitcoin is showing, right?
Yeah.
Staying above that top part of the channel on the weekly chart for the 50-day EMAs, it's actually really like protecting that area. And it seems like it's already taken its gut punches a couple of times the past couple of days. And it's weathered the storm pretty well compared to some of the other parts of financial markets. So I'm okay, man.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is, this is, something that we thought could happen, right? We thought maybe it was baked in a little bit more, but look, there's a lot of catalysts coming up. We're going to hear Jerome Powell speak today, I believe. Is he going to? Yeah. So we're going to hear kind of what his tone is like. And I do believe that we will, get through this. So I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little defeated, bro. Like I'm feeling a little like a little tensions are a little high, right? I don't know, man. I just feel like you only get punched so much and stay bullish, right? So for me to feel a little bearish, and I'm not feeling bearish saying the market's going to go down further, right? It's not about that. It's just about the people aren't here. People aren't here. Markets really have no volume whatsoever, especially the crypto markets. Like you're seeing the lowest volume in a long time, which is a little scary in a sense. But I mean, obviously, we're not going to do much with the S&P dropping 4%, right? Like obviously, right? But it's just really hard to stay bullish when you just don't see anything bullish at all right now.
Yeah, and that's what it is though. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta kind of continually move forward, and it's hard sometimes because you feel like momentum is building, and then all of a sudden that
yeah,
gets slapped down, right? But
every single time.
it has to be that zoomed out picture, and if your conviction was that this is going to be the future, then I think that's kind of what we got to go back to. It's easier said than done for sure. That's
Well, long
100%.
term, I'm 1,000,000% bullish, right? But like, we don't live in the long term. We we live in the short term, right? Like, so it's like I want to make some money. I want to you know what I mean? I want to start like having fun again. I think that's the biggest part too. Is like crypto to me has become a playground. It's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been new, and I feel like that's kind of been taken away a little bit, right? There's nothing new dropping. Everyone's heads down building, so no one's really willing to talk about their project. Everyone's kind of like, we got some updates for you guys in a few months. We're not really seeing any like anything to be really excited about. And I think that's what's getting me more than anything. I need those dopamines. I need those, hey guys, look at this type of environment.
Yeah, but you have to also remember that is a short term kind of
Yeah.
environment, right? And expectation. And when you think about some of the projects that we both know are coming,
Yeah.
involving bringing society into our space, there's something
Yeah.
to be excited about with that. But that is a long term kind of outlook, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes like the short term can also burn us, right? Like, I mean, like we went through like the whole AI hype thing, and that was
Yeah.
awesome, but we thought that would last for maybe 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
No, it lasted a month and a half, right? And then you actually end up getting burnt kind of by it a little bit. So
Yeah.
zooming out, I think can help at least to kind of reflect on it a little bit and say, okay, it sucks right now, but there's going to be brighter days for sure.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So 2.85 trillion wiped out of the US stock market. To put this number in perspective, that's like the entire crypto market, including Bitcoin. Right? Like this is an insane amount of money every single day being taken out of the US stock market. But where is it going? We're not seeing it go into the DXY. The DXY is up a tiny bit. Where is this money going?
In the cash.
I mean, if it's
uh,
going to the dollar, you would think the
yeah,
yen would go up, right? Like, is it going
I
to the
mean,
maybe I gotta start following the yen? Like,
no, I don't know. Maybe it's going to some other currencies. Maybe it's going into gold a little bit. It's going to Bitcoin a little bit.
yeah.
Spread out into some of the safer kind of
Well, dude,
assets.
even gold is down 2%. Like,
Yeah.
where is this money going? I mean, gold is down here, Nvidia is down, right? Like I just don't like, the S&P, the DXY. I mean, it's up a little bit today. It's up 0.6%. So maybe a lot of it's kind of flowing into that. But since I have the screen up, I kind of want to show this. So this is kind of what I was listening to a stock show this morning called Pre-Market Prep with Dennis Dick and Joe Elconin, and they were kind of saying that we've already seen this before. And I wasn't really paying attention to the markets in 2018, but apparently we did. Trump actually initiated this tariff stuff back in 2018. He started it in like October, and it really didn't go forward like until December. So you saw December and January of 2018 and 2019 were really, really bearish. I mean, but we did see a V-shaped recovery. And are you kind of expecting maybe this to happen again?
I mean, at some point, yes. It's
Yeah,
just like, when is that going to trigger? When are we going to normalize what's happening right now? When,
yeah,
like, is it a chess move? If it is a chess, I mean, I think it's a chess move, but a chess move, a chess game, right? Takes time, right? Especially if you're talking about like if this is a move, then he's probably has like a follow up move. So, like, how is this going to work out? Is obviously I'm in the camp that thinks he's trying to get more investment from outside, companies that sell to us a ton, but manufacture outside, and he wants that investment to come in and just invest in our infrastructure for manufacturing. And so, what does that look like? How long does that take? I was watching an interview with I think it was Howard Lutnick, and he was talking about they're looking at maybe 3, 4 to 6 months of when the I guess perception will be more positive as a society in the US.
Yeah.
But we got to see.
But like even this would be fun to be be in every day, right? Like even if obviously we're probably here, and the guys on the show this morning were saying that this was kind of their target. This line right here, this line goes all the way back from the COVID line, and you could see we touched it a couple different times, and they're kind of saying around depending on when we hit it, but around 4,900, and we're not far away from that. We're only about another bad day or two to get here. And they also said the markets do not bottom on a Friday. They never do. So a lot of the times when this is like in someone's brain, right, it just always continues, right? Like even if it's not that way, the bigger traders are going to be thinking that and saying, all right, well, if that's the case, maybe we bottom on a Monday or Tuesday. So we could potentially have another let's say 3-4 days of downward pressure, especially if like nothing really happens with the Fed today and stuff like that. So we could definitely hit this, and then but on top of that though, we could probably bounce out of that and have another V-shaped recovery. But to your point, that leads us into October, November, which kind of you've always said was
Q4.
probably Q4 was probably your target, right?
Yeah, and I liked doing that, saying that, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna act like first of all, I'm not right yet, right? Because it hasn't happened, but
You're looking pretty right though at this point.
but I'll say it was kind of like a safe kind of forecast for me, because look, obviously something in the spring, summer would be great, but like just that feel that I was getting after like the first 2 weeks of January, it was just kind of like, okay, we might not get like this thrust up of like the alt season or anything in the spring. But I mean, even if it is a Q4 takeoff, I mean, like for us to go like, no activity in these the alt markets until then, that would be like really I mean, that's like soldiering on for real.
Yeah. Well, this would still be fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we
gradually
come up like in the midsummer, I guess that. But you're talking about July, right? So
July.
I don't know, Shizzy, if you can survive by then. Like, you know what I mean? Like having these intros to where you're like Eeyore from freaking Winnie the Pooh. It's my
Violet. Well,
nobody likes me.
I can do it for another week. I can do it another week. No. It's just one of those things, man, where I mean, how the hell can I come on here and go, all right, guys, we're gonna have a great show today? It just wouldn't be the truth, right? Like I've tried to be as honest as I possibly can. And
it's truthful that we're gonna have a great show though. Because
we're gonna have a great show. But I mean, well, that's
you mean the fake, you're talking about the fake positivity. I get what you're saying.
I can't do that, right? Like when you guys see me positive, it's because I'm positive. I mean, they're drinking a lot of coffee, and I'm looking at the charts going, like you know what I mean? Like all jacked up on caffeine and stuff. But let's kind of get into the news here. Unemployment rate hits 4.2, surpassing expectations of 4.1. Non-farm payrolls actual. So there's 228,000 new jobs last month. The predicted was 137, and the previous month was 117. So a shit ton of new jobs have just entered the market, whether that's from the tariffs, people thinking about building here. Like, what do you think this is being caused from? I think this is tariff related a little bit. I mean, this is like huge. I mean, from predicted 137 to 228. I mean, something's going on.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, you have those investments, right, from those major three, Honda, the semiconductor, and then Apple. So they obviously got to hire for that. So that could be part of it. But I wonder what the jobs number is going to look like next month, because there have been some layoffs. But I truly feel like the layoffs that were recently announced yesterday because of the tariffs or whatever, they're more for just like drama. in my opinion. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
look, it sucks that people just got laid off, right? I think it was Chrysler. Chrysler like was not doing like great or anything, but they announced that they laid off a bunch of people. And I do think that if this chess move works, yeah, we will see some more jobs created over time. But also remember too, in that interview with Howard Lutnick yesterday, he was talking about, yes, they're going to be hiring people, but they're going to be using robotics and stuff like that. So it's a new era of technology and innovation as well. That's going to be coming to America, is what he's saying. But yeah, we'll see how fast they can roll that out.
Yeah, and you gotta. I mean, we're seeing this stuff. It's real slow, right? Like the AI stuff's moving pretty fast, but like we talk to a lot of builders that are building AI stuff, and they said it's really really hard, right? So I'm not expecting AI to be this powerhouse this year, maybe late next year, right? But I definitely do think that AI and robotics can take away a lot of jobs. I'm just not expecting it anytime like in the near future. So.
One last thing I'll say about that though is there's a lot of like regulation and red tape that's held back like new innovation, like AI and stuff like that. For example, Neuralink, one of Elon's companies, that one I get, like the FDA has to be very careful, right? Because you're messing with people's brains. But they just had like a breakthrough of telepathy, being able to speak through your mind through Neuralink. So I think that like once like some of this red tape gets removed, we could see that actually expedited in terms of like innovation, but we haven't seen it. So until we do, we'll probably kind of expect status quo, right? So
yeah, 100%. Polymarket users currently price in a 47% chance of a U.S. recession. So a recession is calculated with 2 negative GDP quarters in a row, right? Last quarter we had I'm pretty sure it was positive. So they're basically saying, at the end of, I guess we'll get the GDP probably this month for Q1. So we have it. So we're going to need really bad GDP. I just don't see it happening. I think that this is not going to happen. What do you think? Do you think potential recession to negative GDP quarters in a row?
I mean, it could, right? But even if it does, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, honestly. I think it actually just gives more fuel to the fire to get the Fed to come and play hero, you know what I mean, and save the day. So Polymarket's been pretty accurate though, but they are under 50%. So we shall see.
Yeah, when Polymarket's like 50-50, it really could go anyway. Like I think we'll probably see if we get one GDP negative, you'll probably see it skyrocket though, right? You only need one more. But yeah. But this is a really interesting stat. I'm curious your opinion on this. Retail investors bought 4.7 billion in stocks yesterday, the most in a decade. Over 10 years, they've never bought more than 4.7 billion in stocks in one day. They get dumped on though, because 24 hours later, we're down another 4%. What do you think about retail? And do you think it's the big boys that are dumping? I mean, it's obviously right, the big boys that are dumping on them again today.
This one's tough because, like, I mean, you think that you would think that this would be like a smart strategy to get by whenever everybody's like screaming in the streets, blood in the streets, but maybe when you start to see like the Warren Buffetts start to deploy, then that man, I don't know if this is tough because I hope that doesn't happen to them, that like they're buying still high, but how much further can we go? And I hate asking that question because theoretically it could dump a lot harder, right? But like at least like it seems like it could be a smart play. Retail seems to be smartening up a little bit. It's coming in here and buying low. So
yeah, I mean they did the same thing during COVID, right? I mean, I remember people buying I think it was Carnival Cruise Line, CCL.
Oh
like I knew a lot of people that were buying the shit out of that in 2020, and then like the next week or so it dropped even lower. So but retail, if as long as they're dollar cost averaging, I think it's fine, and we really. But who knows, man? These big boys who are not in favor of these tariffs. Because I don't remember these tariffs don't really affect me and you. Maybe our Walmart receipt looks a little bigger next month, right? But like it really affects the bigger guys who are losing millions of dollars in tariffs because they either have to raise prices up, and maybe that what happens is, maybe those products don't sell as much, and they're losing profit value as well. So, and that's the banks. The banks pretty much own every company. I mean, especially BlackRock, right? They own pretty much every large company in the world that are actually going to be affected by this.
I mean, it's true. It's true. You got to think the countries are like the CEOs in the countries that export to us are the ones that are most upset right now, right? Because you're hitting bottom line on both sides, but then really the countries are the most scared because the CEOs eventually have to stop buying. They have to stop getting inventory in, because if it's not moving, or like the society in the US is not purchasing because the price is too high, they're not stupid if they just keep buying inventory. Now they're stuck with inventory, whatever industry it is, clothing, then they might be stuck with like the whole year for the next season. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of like decisions that are going to go into this, but I think the most like fear is in the countries themselves, because if the CEOs aren't buying, then that just cuts off their revenue, and China actually, in my opinion, is the one that gets hit the hardest from the US, because they produce like so much in terms of like clothing, like furniture, all types of stuff, right? And so hopefully some of these deals get made here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so the tariffs go in effect this weekend, right? In the next couple of days. They're projected about $800 billion, or $800 million a day, right? $800 million a day is projected new tariff income every single day. Do you think potentially Trump comes out next week and says, "Hey, I promised no tax on tips. I promised no tax on this, no tax on that. I'm going to put a bill into Congress. I'm going to see if they pass it, and this is strictly just we're cutting taxes 50% across the board, right? With no tax on tips and everything else he promised." Do you think that kind of could give us a little bit of a boost of a rally, because we have we have 800 million new dollars every day? Maybe it's time to cut taxes. Maybe this goes hand in hand with that.
I think everything right now that's happening is very strategic, because they've had the opportunity to bring that to the House to get it through, but they haven't really been aggressive with it, right? And so I think they're just waiting for the timing for that. But I mean, they're going to have to present that at some point and push it through, because that was one of the big issues that he ran on, was no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security, which I know would be huge for retired people like my mom and people that like rely on that. And for the older people, they'll probably spend that on groceries, or they'll spend that on like a little bit of like splurging on themselves a little bit. So it would be great. I think it would be great if that goes through for our economy.
Think about it as a business, right? If you're going to your boss and you're like, "Hey, we want to cut taxes," right? He's gonna be like, "Well, where's that money going to come from?" A lot of businesses, they figure out where the money comes from first. And with Trump, for instance, it's tariffs. And then you come and you give what you want to cut, right? I mean, hand in hand. Hey, we got all this new money in. Why don't we try to cut here for the employees, right? Like I just think that you can't do one without the other. And I feel like he already did this, and now he can come out and kind of soften, and that would spike markets. If he came out with a bill I mean, how can Congress deny a bill to cut taxes? You know what I mean? If that's the only thing in the bill, like, they would get destroyed. Like, I would call my congressman up, right? Like, yeah, what the hell are you doing? Why are you not signing this bill, right? So I just think that if we can get something like that going, that would be pretty big, with no bullshit in that bill either. So,
yep.
All right, let's kind of get into my man Colin Talks Crypto. So he put out this really cool chart here. It's not his normal chart. So he's basically, this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the orange, S&P is the blue. Bitcoin is holding up. Bitcoin is being that store of value that everyone kind of thought it already was. But this is the first time in a long time. I mean, you can see up here, Bitcoin followed the S&P. Whatever the S&P did, Bitcoin did. Bitcoin stopped. Bitcoin halted. Why do you think that is? Do you think people are finally seeing it as a store of value, that we both see it that it is?
Ooh, I do think so, but also, we were trying to figure out where all that money went, and maybe some was being coming out because of fear, but then some was coming in, so it's kind of balancing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a great sign, because we've the biggest thing that I think Bitcoin kind of disappointed some of the outsiders on was like, a hedge against inflation, right?
Yeah.
Or a hedge against being safe. And so if it can kind of maintain this, then this is kind of adds to the argument part that, hey, look, it is kind of being looked at as an asset for when people have fear they go into. This could be a start to that. I hope it doesn't follow the S&P though, because that would be horrible.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no tariffs on Bitcoin too.
There's no tariffs on Bitcoin, 100% Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure. But then this kind of is following. So Colin actually added the S&P into this. Isn't that crazy? So now, so this is the original chart, right? This is the M2 money supply, and then Bitcoin, it's like 10-week lag, and he did that with the S&P. Look at the S&P, bro. And then you see Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin followed this chart, right, we could still see 68,000, right? I mean, this would follow it pretty much the same if we did do something like this. I don't want it to. I really hope it doesn't. But you did see Bitcoin has always been kind of a little bit more bullish than the money supply, like the entire time. So maybe we do stay like that. Maybe we just kind of sit around here sideways. I don't want to be sideways until May 25th, but I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible thing.
Another month, yeah, that wouldn't be horrible. We've already gone through a tough Q1, right? So we just another month of it. But yeah, I mean, everything's on the table right now, I feel like, right? So I hope that it just continually treads and then eventually follows that money supply. That's what I'm really hoping for.
I agree. Your guy, Fred Krueger, calling it, he says, rate cut May 7th, FOMC, if not earlier. Odds just went up 20% to 40% today. Powell is once again behind the curve. So I went to the CME Fed Watch tool, and this is my first time here, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out what's going on. But 56% chance of, this is where we are now, 425, 450. So 56% chance of staying exactly where we're at, and then a 43% chance of going to 4. So this will be a 25 point rate cut. So this is growing. This was at 20% just the other day, and now it's at 43. Is kind of what Fred is talking about here. What do you think? So, and the interesting thing is, we still have 33 days, 2 hours, and 32 minutes until the next FOMC meeting. So we know we get CPI next week, but we don't actually get Powell to speak at his normal FOMC meeting until May 5th or May 6th.
I also think I think people were expecting a rate cut here anyways, right? Because he has 3 in his chamber, right?
People were expecting June. People were saying June was the first one.
Yeah.
Now they're saying May.
Well, I mean, is that Polymarket?
This is the Fed Watch tool. This is CME Group.
Is that where the percentage is 40%?
43% rate cut, 56% not rate cut.
Yeah, but it was 20, and so it's growing. Look, there's going to be a lot of pressure for sure to do something, right? And so I wouldn't be shocked if it happens. I wouldn't be shocked if it happens.
Powell's speaking right now. Is there any chance of it happening right now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're in emergency situations yet. So,
Yep. All right, so Polymarket is basically saying that recession, 50% chance. We kind of talked about that already. President Trump came out this morning and said markets are going to boom. They're going to boom, guys. He said they're going to boom. Again, this kind of goes into my theory of him announcing the tax cuts next week. Possibility. Yeah,
but we need to see some. We need to see some evidence. We need to see some evidence. That's the thing too. Is like, dude, you could totally see what once people's money gets like touched, like they'll flip on either side. Doesn't matter.
I know.
We saw it when like people that normally probably vote left started to turn on them because like times are getting hard the last 6 months or whatever, and so now with this, it's like so intense that you can't really ignore it. Like so. Yeah. A lot of people that have their portfolios or whatever they're looking at, they're getting upset because you get upset whenever your money gets. It's like on Fridays, like you mess with my money, you mess with my emotions, Smokey, right? Like, I mean, it's the truth though, and then people get upset, right? And so that's why I'm really hoping that there's some evidence of a turn back up here soon, because I think he only can go this long for. Do this for this long or a certain amount of time before he really gets a lot of pressure from society, like
Yeah, 100%.
citizens. So
JP Morgan says Bitcoin's digital gold narrative is under pressure as gold outperforms in the debasement trade. So they said it came out and said this yesterday, and then Bitcoin's like, nah, we're not gonna keep going down. Screw you, JP Morgan. I hate JP Morgan. I think they're the worst company in the world. I think they're all a bunch of pieces of shits. But for that, I just want Bitcoin to prove them wrong. I want Bitcoin to kind of just be like, I forgot we're a store of value. We're not gonna keep following the S&P. We're going back up. What do you think?
I think that it's proven that it's shown strength, right?
Yeah.
So it looks great. Like honestly, I thought we'd be below 80K with everything
Yeah, me
else,
too.
So I guess Jay Powell's talking right now. You said that just a second ago.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago he started. So we'll see what's going on with that. But I do have a little bit of crypto stuff. You ready for it? So
Yeah,
the
let's do it.
only thing I could find crypto wise. So Circle stablecoin USDC is now the default currency for all new Binance Pay users. So Binance Pay is a debit card. You can basically have any crypto you have on the Binance account, right? For your Binance.com account. Any money you have in there, you can kind of pick your default currency for when you swipe your debit card. So if you want to pay stuff in Bitcoin, you can do that. You want to pay stuff in USDT, which used to be the default currency, but now it has switched to USDC. And we do know that Binance used to have their own stablecoin called BUSD, but that is gone by the wayside. That is gone. Gary Gensler got rid of that. But what do you think about Binance basically adopting USDC now instead of any other currency? I mean, this is the users that are picking this, right? So
To me, this just sounds like Binance is working close with like US crypto companies. Circle obviously big, so there could be this alliance with like Binance and Coinbase. Which at that point you're talking about like a global monopoly in a sense, right? If they can kind of pull off what their agenda or whatever, but like for them to say, look, you can use USDC, they're saying we're friendly to this, in my opinion, right? Because especially with because like this is going to be their payment product, so Circle's really kind of using their power network and everything to try to be that dominant stable coming out of the US, and I think they will be, right? USDT is going to be a monster no matter what, but they probably aren't going to be getting a lot of friendly attention from the, and this is the cabal forming from like the highest level. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you this: when Circle goes public, we do know that Jeremy Allaire is going to sell down, probably Brian Armstrong's going to sell down, probably, right? That's what they normally do. I mean, that's what Brian Armstrong did when Coinbase went public, right? He sold down a portion of his stock. Do you see Binance coming in and buying Circle stock to become, potentially have say? Because right now, as a private company, they probably don't want Binance on the investor table, right? I mean, it just doesn't look great for other investors. But once you go public, anyone can come in and they can buy your stock. You're public, right? So do you see Binance potentially coming in and buying Circle, maybe a good portion of it?
if it benefits them in terms of being able to maneuver and be influential over it, but I'd have to research that more, right?
I actually think they will. I think that if I just think maybe not for the facts of being able to control it, but the facts that hey, like this is the number one product going to be used. We want our hands in this. If we're going to help make it the top cryptocurrency, stablecoin, we're going to want our hands in this. We want a portion of the stock. I can see Binance coming in. I can actually see Circle stock doing a 10x after IPO.
Yeah, for sure. People are going to be anticipating it. Dude, there's going to be so much like foundation to Circle before they're going to be just looked at as like a solid opportunity that will be stable. I think, yes, initially you'll have that like probably like really bullish, price action with it, but then it'll be like a strong, consistent stock in the future.
I agree. All right. Let's get into the fear and greed here. So last Friday we're at 44. Wow, it feels like forever ago. Yesterday we're at 25. Today we're a little higher, couple points
27.
higher. We're 28, pretty much. Pretty right there, pretty much there. Yeah. I mean, I guess it definitely feels fearful, but we'll see. But let's kind of get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artora.finance. Artora, they're going to be on the Hemi blockchain layer 2 Bitcoin that is actually backed by Binance, which is absolutely huge, right? So potentially you guys will be able to get the Hemi token by using Artora.finance when it enters mainnet. That's going to be an opportunity to potentially get the Artora airdrop and the Hemi airdrop. So guys, I highly recommend when it goes when it goes live, that you guys definitely, I got the circle thing in my head. When you guys got the opportunity, definitely go play with that for sure. And right now you guys can get started by going to Artora.finance and playing on Botonic's testnet and actually doing some paper trades. I highly recommend you guys doing that. There's no reason not to. You get put in their lottery system to potentially win some Artora coins and maybe some USDC in the future as well. So definitely want to get in there and start playing with Artora.finance today.
Yep. And before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, I'm going to ask you guys to help us like I do every day. And you guys are awesome for doing that. On the YouTube side, smash that like, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, help us share the space so we can onboard as many people to the space as possible. And please share the abstract stream if you're on that side as well. We would greatly appreciate it. But let's get into some Bitcoin price action here. All right, so it's actually looking it's a little volatile right now because he's speaking, but it shot up a bit and now it seems like we're heading back down. So on the hour chart, Bitcoin, it seems to be just coming out of buy pressure and hanging down below the oversold territory right here, right? So I do expect volatility. I think he just sat down, so maybe he speaks again. But looking at the comments, maybe it wasn't so great, Patapoo, because you said fire pow, he hates Trump. But then Johnny Utah comes in and says pow pow to the rescue. So I don't really know how if it was good or bad. Could you guys maybe comment and say if it was good? I mean, it looks like it's going down, so maybe not so great. But yeah, so can you see my screen? Oh, sorry guys. All right. Yeah, you can see it now. Sorry about that. Okay, now you can see it. But yeah, you can see that we are in the sell pressure part of the hour chart, right? This hour candle is coming down. Looks like maybe it wasn't a great speech that he gave. And I'll probably I'm definitely going to just stay out of any type of leverage with Bitcoin today. Really want this to kind of tame down a bit, right? In terms of like the knee-jerk reactions, which some of is definitely valid, but people are going to get emotional when their portfolios are down. So staying out of it, probably expect a little bit more volatility for the rest of today, but looks like it wants to go down. We are starting this new kind of sell pressure here. So that is what I'm seeing for the hour chart. The 4 hour, same thing. Looks like this, this sell pressure is well, it looks like it just lightened up here as I was saying that, but yeah, but it definitely doesn't look great. You can see the blue leading indicator line there too, kind of still pointing towards the downside. Yeah, if this continues down, this is just going to get darker and then we'll probably get a little bit lower. But again, it has been protecting that 50-day EMA on the weekly chart, which let me bring up right now. So you can see here, this is, in my opinion, the most important chart for Bitcoin right now, because you can zoom out and say, okay, if we lose the zoom out and we have like confirmation that we're officially like in bear market territory with like Bitcoin's price action, at least that would break down below this channel, the 50-day EMA. So we are protecting this $81,000 price point here, and as long as we finish the week above this channel, I think that'll be fine. The top part, right? So keep your eyes on this chart, in my opinion, because if we end the week somewhere in the like below it, then this could be bad. Then we would lose that top part of the channel, and who knows how much further it could go down. But again, we have defended it very, very well the past 4 weeks. So that is definitely impressive. So Bitcoin, actually, in my opinion, we're still fine. We're looking okay. We break down below this, we get below 78,000. Then I'm starting to worry. The others weekly chart doesn't look good at all. This is everything outside the top 10 and Bitcoin. So mid caps, micro caps, stuff like that, with a couple of majors in there. Looks like it's starting a downtrend, right? So Bitcoin has to really get hyper aggressive for this to pull back up. And so unless we see Bitcoin starting to head back to 85, 86, 87, this is probably going to continue down. Or hopefully, best case scenario would be like treading kind of even there. So not the best of news, but at the same time, we like to give it to you guys straight, and that's kind of what's happening. This is surprising, though. The crypto bubbles on the daily is green, which to me is weird because I just showed what the others looks like, but this is kind of a day to day here. So let me refresh this. Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit more red here, but you can see, gosh, Hex is in here. Where are we? You got stuff like Ondo kind of bouncing back, Doge, Gala, Algorand. So actually for the day, like some of these, the top 100s looks actually not too bad on the day. But if we bring up the week, it's going to look horrible. Yeah.
I'm shocked by that. The day?
I know.
The day
I
being
know.
that green? That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe there's, starting to kind of bounce back a little bit, seeing Bitcoin's showing strength. I don't know. That weekly chart with the others, though, you got to remember that's the weekly chart. So that's like everything before today. So if today, is a decent performance for everything outside of top 10, that could, start to turn around a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. Is Bitcoin negative there, or is that positive?
Where?
In the middle. It's the right of Hex, yeah.
Plus 1%.
Plus 1%. Okay. And everything's up. Hex is up 10%. Sonic's up 10%. Grass is up. What is grass? Is that
I don't know. I don't know what grass is, but Litecoin's 1.9%. ADA is up 5.1%. What's weird is some of the more, degen stuff in the top 100s up, like Doge up 6%. Where is it? Trump up 3.6%. Stuff like that, right? Like some of these memes coins are actually bouncing. Cake, well, Cake's actually a DEX, so yeah.
Pancake,
yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. So this is actually,
can you get a little more degen with that?
I don't know if it's gonna look too great, but not bad.
Fartcoin, bro.
Okay, bull market back on. Fartcoin is up 22.4%, guys. Breaking news. Dude, get this out of here. What the
Luna Classic, bro?
I hate
coming
that.
back.
I hate that.
Coming back, bro.
Yeah.
Back to $100 now.
Jasmine up 6.3%. Dog Whiff up 4%.
Damn. Is Dog in here? Where's Dog?
Dog is in the 200s, I believe. Let's go to the next one here.
Ooh, Sats is getting killed today. Why is Sats getting killed today?
I don't know, but so is AI16Z.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, that Zeus token, which we had a little meeting with them recently, they're up 13%. Where's Dog go to the moon?
I don't see that little. Oh, right there, top right. A little red.
Oh, it's down 1.3%. Yeah. I'm gonna go one more level.
Ooh, getting a little more degen.
AI XBT up 7.2%. We should keep going so we can't recognize a single one.
I know a bunch in here. I know VVVV. I know
Alluvium.
OKT, Alluvium.
Yeah. So dogs from Ton Network. Yeah. Let's see when we get to a point to where we don't recognize them.
Well, I know Bitcoin. I don't know if that's
where's Bitcoin?
In the middle.
Oh, Merlin's right here. Here.
Wow.
Where's Bitcoin?
Right there. Down. It's just Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, I think that's a Sonic Inu.
Is
that's
it
a
really?
Sonic Inu? Yeah. Harry Potter Sonic Inu. They renamed it. They have it. The ticker's Bitcoin. Yeah. All right. So
one more.
Rats.
Oh, Rats is in here.
BRC20 rats, dude.
Yeah.
All right, this is a fun game. All right, so we'll just go until we
Alex.
can't.
We know Alex.
All right, so we're in 600 to 700 now. This one's.
I don't really know much in here. Oh, I know. PYR. That's a gaming thing. What's it called? Pyro. It's on Polygonmatic. It's like Pyro or something.
Oh, Mappo. I know Mappo.
Yeah.
I was
Mappo is the old Bitcoin token.
Well, so they're actually a bridge on Ethereum is what they started. So chill guy. Okay, I definitely know that one. Okay, so,
WZRD at the bottom right.
All right, so we're in. Okay, guys, we're gonna go until we can't recognize it. So this is 700, ranked 700 to 800 here.
I don't know any here, bro. I think it got me. Do you know any here?
I mean, not yet.
Let us know in the chat, guys. You guys know any of these tokens? I bet our chat knows like 9 of these tokens. I think math. I think I know math, but I won't even give myself that because I don't even know what it does.
Yeah, if you can't tell what chain it's on, then that doesn't count.
Well, I know Blue BLU. That's a marketplace on Aptos.
Reef sounds familiar. UFO. I've heard of UFO. That's on Ethereum.
Yeah,
UFO's on Ethereum, right?
I think so. I think it's a meme coin, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
meme coin. I think I don't think we can go further than this. I just don't think we did good enough.
I don't think we're confident enough to find one in here. That's kind of that sucks.
Well, Alchemy X, I think that's a second token from Alchemy at the bottom center. But
we'll just move forward. UFO gaming, Johnny Utah said so.
Oh, okay.
I think we got that one, but like you're right. Like it wasn't like extremely confident, right?
Yeah, we got to be confident that we know.
Dude, the next one, 800 and 900. Just real quick, I'm not gonna bring it up.
Yeah. No, bring it up.
Okay. The first thing that popped up was pups. So we got something on this one. But anyways,
Dora the Explorer.
Oh, Retardio.
Yeah. Is that the virtuals? The Dora?
Or is that
the Dora bottom right?
I think it's a different Dora because the image is a cat.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a fun little game there.
Yeah. The Dora. All right. Let's kind of get into today's roll call here on the show. First is first. If you guys make first, you guys are the best. And let's see who got it today. We got my man, Glass Hopper in the building. Shout out to Glass Hopper. Absolutely amazing, man. Really appreciate you being here every single day, buddy. You are number one, as always. And it's your second win of the year. So congratulations to you. If you guys don't know what this is where we are keeping track of the first comment every single day, and first, and we're actually giving away a frog. That frog value right now is around $700, but we're going to be giving it away on December 31st to the guy who has the most wins. And right now, it's a tie in first place with Danny Boy and WebDraw with 13. But this is anyone's game, guys. We still have 200 days left in the year, so I definitely can't wait to kind of see how this shapes out. But it's been fun so far. And Glasshopper, you have every shot, man. Any one of you guys can win. Even if you have 0 right now, you still have an opportunity. Just be that first comment and don't get reaped. But yeah, shout out to Glasshopper, my guy. And then we have WebDro. He says, Glasshopper, Danny Boy is here. Shout out to Danny Boy, PJNZ. Malam Yuri says, first true hodl test. Crypto without conviction must be horrible. Happy no one listened to me in November last year when I was trying to get people on board. They'd be strangling me by now. Yeah, man.
Dude, I learned my lessons with that. Like, just don't do it.
No, just don't tell anyone about anything in crypto. Just say, hey, I make my money. I do marketing. Like, I do something else. I don't do anything else. Danny Boy says, I'm happy to Nighthawk. Teddy's gonna get many airdrops. Oh, the Teddies. Yeah. Get revealed. Yeah. Shout out to Danny. Mempool Punk is here. Superfan is here. Ordinal Tweets. Johnny Utah every single day. He said an A-shaped recovery. That's not good. That's not good at all. Ordinal's Chips. Shout out to Ordinal's Chips and Ordinal Tweets. They're back, bro. The Brothers of Destruction. They're back. Shout out to you guys. Johnny Utah says, are you tired of winning yet?
Not
tired
yet.
of losing, bro. No, I'm really tired of losing. I mean, it's been a whole year of just straight L's. Steamy J is here. Patty Poo is here. Let's see. Chief Axel, my guy. Johnny Toll says USDC is the new CBDC. I understand where you're coming from. Patty Poo says he hates Trump. Fire Pow, he hates Trump. Johnny Utah says POW to the rescue. And then Johnny Utah says UFO Gaming. And from X, we have our guy, how do you say this, you think? Irita? Irita.
Yeah.
Irita TV.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Shizzy Bearish, the mother
Irita.
of Conspirian buy signals. Buy when there's blood in the streets. Yeah, I mean, I never said I was bearish. I just said I'm sad. That was that was kind of the intro there. My bonds are rallying. Yeah, have fun with those things, man. I hope you get your 4%. And then he says negative GDP this quarter due to front loading imports, and a second negative quarter very unlikely. Yeah, and we'll see. So serious tax cuts have to the same effect as 2020. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with the statement. What about you?
I didn't initially like put those puzzle pieces together, but it does make sense because if you have freed up cash, it actually might even be better because it won't be as like volatile of like, oh, like I got this cash in my hand. It'll be more like, oh man, I have extra money this month, or and so every month it's kind of like building up. So I agree, like it's gonna definitely stimulate the economy. I hope that like that's exactly what we need. Is we need a bill to go through for tax cuts. That's what we need.
And just tax cuts. None of that bullshit. Like, I don't want to see anything else in there about like giving penguins cocaine for testing. That shit got to go away. Right? I want a fair. I want to see a fair bill with just tax cuts in it. Myself said that's right. No crying in the casino. Yeah, man. I understand. All right. So something is bothering me, man. I wondered if you can kind of get me off the ledge here with a product called Runes. So we do know that Magic Eden was the #1 place to get runes. They used to have a little thing up here that said runes, but now it's gone. What happened? Why is the runes gone?
So my theory is that they added the swap the swap item up there. And so they're really trying to push this, being able to swap Solana stuff into Bitcoin directly. And so they just didn't want to crowd that menu. And so they just placed the runes underneath trade. I mean, this is kind of a classic UI strategy to where you want to make sure the UX is good for the user, because you don't want a crowded menu. That's like, you just don't want that, right? But they obviously sacrificed runes for it.
So dogs under 140,000.
Million.
Can dog drop? I'm sorry, 140 million. Can dog drop another 40 million? Do you think can dog get under 100 million market cap?
Yeah, I think it could. Do I think it's likely? They're like the entire market would have to really tank pretty much. I think there's just too much. There's too much community support for it to happen unless there's like a big, like everything crashes.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, let's get into Fluid Friday here. So one of our partners is Fluid Tokens. Some major updates coming from these guys, man. Really, really bullish on what Fluid is bringing to the table here. Let's kind of jump right into it, to their updates. So they had a tweet earlier today, and that tweet said the FLDT rune has been etched. I'm going to find that really quickly. So the FLDT rune is equivalent 1-to-1 with the FLDT Cardano token. So this is the tweet right here. All right, so the ticker will be Fluid space rune space FLDT. Very bullish because I am somebody who has been staking my Fluid pass, so I'm going to get some free FLDT runes. We know the FLDT token on Cardano is around 20 cents, 25 cents. What do you think about this? Do you think how bullish is it that FLDT is now on Bitcoin?
I think it's bullish just because now whenever people ask about like Fluid and people say they already have a token, and then they're like, if they're from the Bitcoin community, they're kind of like, oh really? I didn't realize there's a rune. Now they can say, yeah, there is a Bitcoin token. It is Bitcoin and Cardano, just with the supply kind of flowing back and forth with their bridge. So yeah, I think it's a smart move, because they are just as influential, or heading that way, or maybe more on the Bitcoin side now than they are on Cardano. So I think this move was anticipated. Everybody knew that this was happening with their staking vault, but it solidifies them even further in our ecosystem, the Bitcoin ecosystem altogether.
Yeah, 100%. We do know that they'll be adding liquidity to this when this token drops, so that's pretty big. And you will be able to bridge it 1-for-1 once their bridge opens. So Aquarium, we know, is going to be their bridge, and there will be going to be doing 1-to-1 from Fluid Cardano to Fluid Bitcoin. Really excited for Aquarium. Aquarium's going to be a really big deal. What other updates do we have from them?
Yeah, I mean, and with Aquarium, expect a DEX and AMM. So,
Yeah,
as soon as you bridge from Bitcoin to Cardano with Fluid token, you can swap it right out on their platform still, back and forth, whatever, if it's going to be on the dot swap side or whoever side on the Bitcoin versus the Cardano. So there's making it as seamless and, available to everybody that holds this token as possible.
Yeah, man. And we do know that on Fluid, you can actually stake that token if you go to the Cardano. If once you're able to take your rune back to Cardano, there do have the staking vaults here where you got boosted staking for the FLDT token or N-ADA as well. And then maybe not for FLDT, but I know they have it for the normal staking. Yeah. So you can stake your FLDT here and you can get some rewards. So they do have 3 staking pools you can get into, 3%, which is a very liquid one. And then they have a locked one, which is closed for now. And then another one. So this is really interesting. You potentially can get 20% APY on your FLDT rune. Once the bridge is open, you're able to take it here. But I'm just excited for it to be on Bitcoin. I'm just excited for this. It's going to be a multi-chain token. It's what this is going to do as well. It's going to open up a lot of arbitrage, especially for someone like me. I'm going to have FLDT on the Cardano side. I'm going to have FLDT on the Bitcoin side. When that price separates from each other, I'm going to sell one on one side and buy the other side. And then when it comes back to center, so the whole goal will be getting more money, right? So I'm going to keep the same amount of Fluid, but I'm going to end up with more Bitcoin or more Cardano, depending on where I'm doing it at, right? So this is going to be really awesome for someone who understands the markets like I do. And I'm going to be, as soon as someone comes in and drops their Bitcoin token, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell my Cardano side down, buy my Bitcoin side up. I'm going to keep the same amount of FLDT, but I'm actually going to have more money. And I can potentially make a few $100 a week. Maybe someone's paycheck by doing this. I especially in the early days. It's gonna, after like a week or two, it's probably going to settle to where a lot of people are doing this. But in the beginning, you guys have an opportunity to make sure that this thing is pegged 1-to-1, and if not, you can make money.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There's going to be a window there, and the people that take advantage of it will make out, and then eventually it'll close. That gap will close because everybody's going to want to take advantage of it eventually. So.
Yeah. So as soon as you see someone come in and dump a bunch on the Bitcoin side, what you do is you sell the Cardano side and you buy the Bitcoin side. So you want to have money on both sides. You want to have Bitcoin to buy and Cardano to buy, and then you want to have Fluid to sell and Fluid to sell. So every time there's a difference in the price action, you guys can take advantage of that. And if you're smart and you're good at it and you're quick enough, you can make potentially thousands of dollars a week. Like I said, it's going to be market makers are going to come in and they're going to take this from you. But the first couple of weeks, there's always that opportunity to spice that up for yourself. So be prepared for it. And we do know that the FLDT rune will be airdropped to holders and stakers of the FLDT pass. So if you staked your pass, I have 20 passes staked. I'm going to get a nice portion of that reward, which is, I think it's like 420 passes. So I'll be getting like, a couple percentage points of that supply that I think it's like 3 million FLDT. So I'm really excited, or 300,000. That might be 300,000. I'm really excited for this as drop. And remember, dog claimers, you have 52 days. You'll be able to claim your dog and a portion of that 20% APY. And then we did talk to Raul again, and he said potentially we're going to do another dog staking. So that's going to be really fun and exciting as well. So look out for that. You can earn by holding dog. I'm a long-term dog holder, so it doesn't even matter to me. I'm really excited to earn on top of that and keep stacking dog. But is that everything we have? Fluid.
Yeah, I mean, look out for the Aquarium release very,
Yeah.
very soon. I'm not going to give an exact date, but I would just say very soon. So everything's aligning perfectly for this rune to drop, and the bridge kind of in simultaneously, right? So, and I mean, these guys are continuously just building. Oh, another thing too with the airdrop tool. So be on the lookout for that as well, because you're going to be able to airdrop, I think, to like 1,000 recipients with a rune. And we'll give you guys more details in terms of what the requirements will be and stuff like that once the tool is out. But look out for that, because there's a lot of people on Odin that are saying, yeah, staking is cool, but also, what if we want to just do like an airdrop for our community? And this is going to be the perfect tool for that.
The only problem is that, is there any way to get the Bitcoin address from the Odin address? Right? Like,
yeah, I'm sure that there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
I think Pep Odins has been able to kind of pull that.
They have,
with
yeah.
Yeah, so there's a way to do it. You just have to. They might have to work with a API or something fluid if they decide to be able to do that. Or the individual, the founder might have to work with Pep Odins or something, because from my understanding is you might need to use like a sheets, like a spreadsheet CSV file or something, and then upload it to the platform. But like I said, all those details, kind of like boring, nerdy details right now, but we'll have, once they're kind of solidified in exactly the process, we'll actually create a tutorial for that.
Yeah, 100%. And then not next Friday, but the Friday after that, Raul's gonna come on and give us a full tutorial of that live. He's going to walk me through exactly how to bridge my FLDT from Bitcoin to Cardano, and then we'll bridge it back because I want my FLDT on Bitcoin. That's going to be cool too. Bringing over my FLDT from Cardano to Bitcoin and just having it over here with the rest of my stuff. Really excited for that. Really excited for what Fluid is bringing to the table, and really excited for the future of Fluid, the future of the FLDT token, and guys, they're Rune now. They're on Bitcoin, so really excited for that.
Yep, excited for those guys.
All right, guys. It is officially Friday as well. So every Friday we have our good friends from Emblem Vault joining us for an Emblem Hour, and today we're lucky enough to have Chris Dev on. He is one of the guys over there, man. Their team is building. Their team is really building, from Shannon to Chris to Jake, to Bunzi, and to obviously Adam McBride as well. So team is growing, and it's awesome to kind of talk to another person with their, just over there every single day and kind of seeing what Hustle is bringing to the table. But also you have to remember their jump feature for the Ordinals NFTs is going to be coming live probably in the next month or so, and it's going to be really exciting to be able to take your Ordinals to other places, potentially take it to ETH or somewhere else to get loans on it, right? Because right now, obviously with Liquidium, there's not a lot of liquidity there, right? But taking your Ordinals to one of these big players, these guys who've been around for a long time and doing tons and millions in volume, is going to be exciting. I'm actually looking to see how many Ordinals and stuff like that really take advantage of using their bridge and actually taking loans and stuff out on their Ordinals.
Yeah, I think it's going to be heavily used, honestly. I feel like this is the strongest that like Emblem has been in terms of, building in different ecosystems. And they are a great team to talk to on the show too, because they get perspectives from like so many different environments, right? Whether it's Solana with Hustle, whether it's, these EVM chains with the jump feature, and possibly extending that out to other, bullish environments that request the jump feature in the future, right? We know Solana's on that roadmap, and who knows, Sui might blow up and maybe they want to be on as well. We'll just kind of see. But the one thing I'll say is that they're able to kind of market themselves through their business model strategy. So it's really cool how they're doing this.
I agree. Let's bring them up. Oop, this one. What's up, Chris? Welcome back to OnChain Revolution.
Lads. Yo, good morning, everyone. What is good? What is good? Shizzy, Yagobi, what's going on, man? Good to see you guys. What's happening?
Good to see you too, man. Not much, just trying to hang in there. It's tough, as you guys do a show as well, and stuff, like trying to keep that positive, upbeat energy, and then like momentum gets slapped in the face, and then you're kind of like Eeyore, right? A little bit, but like you got to pick it back up, right? Because like if you don't, then you're not moving forward, and that's what the game is about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like cliche to say, but to move in the middle, like after so many years, you just kind of get burnt out on like the highs and the lows, and you just you live for the middle. So it's just like another day. Some days you get kicked in the face. Some days you kind of have some massive wins, but you just kind of learn to live in the middle. I think that's it's cliche and lame, but it kind of works.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it for sure. But I'm somebody who's like, I'm just overly bullish, right? I'm especially long-term bullish, but like in the short term, right? In the short term, it's hard. It's hard to come on here every day because I'm a very honest person, right? Like I'm not gonna come on here and be like, guys, we're V-shaped recovery. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon at this point, right? But it does suck that it's just a macro thing. It's nothing to do with crypto. It's nothing to do with anything that is do with our markets. It's just a macro thing going on right now, and that macro could change though at any minute. Trump come out and say we're going to cut taxes on tips, taxes on Social Security, and 50% tax through off everything, right? Because we got this $800 million in tariff money that's coming in every day. We can do something. So something announcement like that, and we're back at it, right?
Yeah, we're so back. Just over. That's how it happens. I mean, Trump is a markets guy, right? He loves markets. He lives for the markets. I mean, no president really has a mandate to like crash the economy completely, and that's kind of why like the Fed is independent from the policymakers, right? To kind of keep it on balance, regardless of who's in power. So I mean, you saw the Fed prop up America for years under Biden. I mean, because that's kind of their mandate, right? Is to even out the markets, regardless of who's in charge and what policies they're enacting. So, I mean, you're going to have some support at some level. It can't be all like apolitical. So, just in general, I think, like you said, it's hard not to be bullish. This is one of the most exciting times in crypto history. I mean, if you're not a bull here, there's no reason to even be in this market. Go do something else. Go get a real job or something like that. But Trump is a market.
This isn't a real job.
Yeah, you got to take your shot. Go. If you have to experience volatility if you want to work in this industry, so you have to live for that.
Yeah, and like investors like Warren Buffett and stuff, like he has all that cash on the side. He knows like there's going to be a point where he's injecting, and they're probably licking their chops right now, seeing like the pullback with the markets. They're smart traders. They like he's the best probably ever, but like him being in cash, he's looking like he probably already knows like when he's going to re-inject. But like I think that thought process, eventually when you've experienced these markets so many cycles, eventually that will come over here to where you're kind of like, this is like discount buying season too, right? Am I right with that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're looking at Bitcoin 110 to 80, 78. I mean, you're looking at over 30% already. Just a typical kind of bull market pullback range. So, I mean, I'm comfortable. The rest of the market is pretty wrecked. It's kind of crazy to see 2017 prices on Ethereum. All these other alts as well. Solana is down from 250 to like 100. So, I mean, you're feeling some pain pretty much everywhere, but that's kind of like what you're looking for. I mean, crypto is so cyclical. We've been here so many times to where it's literally been so over. And then the next exact week, we're so back. So it feels pretty comfy where we're at with all that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we could be sitting here next week and be like, wow, this is the most bullish news we've ever gotten, right? Like anything can happen, especially in crypto being so volatile. I mean, you could see Bitcoin up, 20% in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Some of the stock market, which is down 11% in 2 days, and everyone's like, oh, it's over. Like it's dead. So
yeah. One thing with Trump also is that he has a media flurry with everything that he says. There's a media flurry. So it actually kind of prices in like peak fear. It's hard to get more fearful because of the media flurry. And so they don't ever give any slight chance of actual upside of actual win rate, right? So what if he does pull off these tariffs? No one's positioned for anything like that. What if they're half as bad as the market's making them out to seem and the media's out to seem? That's a huge upside surprise for pretty much all markets across the board. So I think that's a pretty good thing to keep a note on.
Yeah. And Chris, you seem like a level-headed guy. You explained that that's kind of like where you like to be from, an emotional standpoint, which is obviously very healthy from a mental health standpoint. And so my question to you is like, maybe this can help the audience is what's a good indicator you look to whenever there is so much volatility in the markets, right? We're supposed to be in a bull market, but there's volatility of ups and downs. It feels like a bear market sometimes. What's an indicator that you look for maybe to say
like indicator? I mean, I'm a builder, I'm a trader. been trading for a long time, but more trading on just kind of sentiment these days and just kind of value, where I think value would be. Like, do I think 75K is like value territory for Bitcoin? I think that's value territory. You know, like if we're looking at like a max downside, maybe 60K, previous all-time high 69K, I'm comfy at like 75. You know, if it panics, 69, 65. But I mean, for the most part, it seems like the harshest part of the pullback is kind of over. I mean, you're looking at alts that are destroyed. If they go any further, like they're free, literally. Like, who's not going to buy Ethereum at $1,000, $900? You know what I mean? So, I mean, we're just kind of at those phases, and I've been in crypto for a long time, so it is funny that you get the same people kind of texting you, and those are kind of triggers. It's just pretty cyclical. Some of the people that text you around those bottoms or around those tops, it's actually pretty repetitive. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you do have a lot of experience. So that makes sense with exactly what you said. It's like you kind of see Bitcoin, you're like, hey, look, this is a deal. This is a steal. I'm good here. I'll keep acquiring. But I think like from like someone that might be new at that first level of coming in, I think and they get to more research side. I think one thing that they can look towards, and like your opinion on this, is like how much building is happening, like how much investing is happening into like actual crypto startup builders, because I do think we're having our true like Silicon Valley moment, possibly like, you know, right now or maybe right before that. Do you think that's a good thing to kind of gauge too, if there's enough builders, and then yeah, I'm in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of these funds haven't really gotten activated this cycle, to be honest. There is some building, there's some high quality building, but one thing that we're missing compared to last cycle is actually a lot of VC, like liquid VCs especially. So they had a lot of hard time raising after the 2020 cycle. So they were kind of in like a down year for raising huge funds. But I think we'll see those perk back up probably second half of this year if we get some capital flowing. But if you're new and you're looking at these markets, well, first find out why you got here. How did you end up here? You know, why did you end up here in the first place? And what I tell people when I'm kind of like, you know, people ask me about crypto a lot, I always say the goal is to buy the cheapest coins possible. So you're always looking to buy the cheapest coins that you can. And people are like, what does that even mean? That means literally you're actually looking for the discounts. Never go all in. Never kind of, you know, blow your stack in one load, and just kind of shoot for a good kind of rule is like 50% down on some of these alts, especially if you're in like general kind of in the trenches or something like that. 50% down. Maybe deploy 25 or 50% of your stack just to get a decent position. Another 25% down from there, unload again. And then if it goes down even further, unload it again. So you're not trying to shoot for the bottom. You're just kind of trying to take your pick at what is going to be a bottom, most likely. So play the probabilities.
Yeah, and in that scenario as well, you're actually excited when it drops.
That's right.
You're not sitting there. You're not worried about it, because you're like, all right, cool. I told myself I'm going to buy here. I'm going to buy here, and if it drops again, I'm going to buy there. But what happens if that just keeps dropping and you run out of cash?
Welcome to the you're now a community member, right? I mean, it's important to just kind of frame it for people that they are volatile.
Yeah.
I always frame them for the losses, because it's impossible to call the bottoms on some of these. I mean, when Ethereum went to like $80, it was like literally insane. You know, when Bitcoin went to 3K, that was like one of the craziest days on the internet. I mean, these are some of like the most historic days online.
So just March 8th, right? March 8th, 2020.
March 12th, I think, but something like that. Very, very close, yeah. But I mean, these are just like, that's what makes the market. That's why you're here, is for those volatility moments, and you want to have a little bit of a stack to play with. And that's so easy to say, but it's harder to do, right? Like everyone wants to have a stack at the lows. Of course, that's obvious, but not many people do have the discipline to have the stack at the lows.
100%. Let me ask you something about Bitcoin and the store value, right? So we're seeing Bitcoin kind of hold up here while the S&P is just getting crushed. Do you still see Bitcoin as a store value asset, or do you think that it's a considered a tech stock? It's you know, risk on. Will Bitcoin ever be that risk off asset that we're kind of all hoping it will be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Bitcoin bull. Been a Bitcoin bull for a while. I mean, it is, in my opinion, the most pristine collateral, the best thing that you can lend for and against without kind of counterparty risk. That's kind of the best asset in the world. Liquid, 24 hours a day, all over the world, available to anyone with an internet connection. It's still in its earliest days, right? And I mean, you're seeing the store value kind of narrative win out based on on-chain activity, right? No one's moving it, no one's transacting in it. They're storing their value in it. Literally, they're not touching it. So in my opinion, it checks all the boxes for the best kind of collateral, the best store value in the world. And I mean, it's very natural for the internet to have a native currency, and we've never had that before. And this is kind of our best shot at it.
Yeah. I think once the banks actually start rolling out products involving it, then that's when I think the overall perception will be more, the risk off, because at that point the banks have bought in to this meta, right, or to this reality. So
yeah, and you just kind of get to these like just kind of this kind of Cambrian explosion where one day it's not really a thing, the next day it's everything kind of thing. And I mean, if you look at how nations kind of settle trade deals and things of this nature, oftentimes they're literally like shipping gold, across the ocean or on freight planes. So I mean, some of these things are just like so inefficient. The security, the cost associated with securing that gold and that payment from kind of port to port is insane. Your risk of kind of theft and everything else, coercion along the way is much higher. So Bitcoin just like a much more streamlined and like practical implementation to settle debts, and so I think it'll really take off in the international markets.
Yeah. All right, let's kind of get into your boy here. Let's get into Agent Hustle.
There he is.
How's everything going? Is there any updates on the guy, man? We definitely been seeing a lot going on, and you can kind of break down the newest stuff from this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're doing a lot of toying with him, playing with different models for different applications, seeing who's best at what. We're so lucky to live in this era where there's so many LLMs that are basically kind of public goods that we can kind of build off of. I mean, these things are incredible. To interface with these on the regular is insane. To build a product around them is just so powerful. So right now they're kind of tweaking with like his models, seeing which is like the most performant. We use a lot of Anthropic. We use a lot of kind of ChatGPT, and then we're kind of experimenting with a few others, but those seem to be the standout winners, just to give them the most power. We're going to be introducing some tiers based on kind of like the premium features that we're going to announce. So that's pretty exciting, and he's just kind of stacked. I've seen you guys play around with him. I've seen you guys on some of the streams. Give me some reactions, and then kind of just let's start with some reactions. What do you guys think? What's your first kind of impression touring through him?
So I'll start it off. I feel like he definitely is like my experience was kind of like a really helpful assistant kind of situation, right? Like I didn't really know much about pump fund tokens, and so I would keep asking, like, and it's like in any other LLM I've used, I would have to keep going prompting until my prompt was accurate to where I get the info I wanted. And so I was able to hit like a 60%er once, and this was like, I want to say about a week and a half ago, but I'm kind of I wish I just stopped then, because pump fund definitely is like this huge like eventual black hole, right? Unless you can really get to where like Hustle can really track some of these wallets that have success and all that stuff. And I think that will probably come with you guys, but that's been my experience. I felt like I can't wait till the conditional, which to me is more safe, right? Because now I can start DCAing in or out of tokens that are already established. I don't have to worry about if it goes to zero. There's a big enough market cap and community to where I know it won't, and so I can make these 20%, 30% swings, and that's what I want to use Hustle as a tool. But I don't know what Shizzy's experience was.
Yeah, for me, I'm really just not a Solana guy, right? So going over here, everything's like kind of brand new to me, right? So messing with the pump fund model and stuff like that, like I'm more, ordinals, runes, DeFi type of stuff on Ethereum and Phantom and stuff like that. So coming over into pump fund model, I think I was learning lessons that you guys have already learned, right? Especially about pump fund. So I turned a whopping 1 SOL into a 0.06. So again, I'm messing with $100, right? I'm playing around with small money. I'm using Hustle to kind of learn, and I'm using Hustle to kind of educate myself. I'm learning. I basically asked it the other day. I was like, why do I keep losing money? And Hustle was like, well, you're trying to hit 100x. Like, stop it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, you're right. Now I've kind of got a little bit more conservative. I'm probably going to add another soul this week and then see if I can, not make the same mistakes twice and kind of be a little bit more or less degen over here. It's easy to be degenerate when it's $100 and you're like, I'm going to turn this to 1,000. But when if you pretend that the $100 is 1,000 and you try to really make smart decisions on trying to learn to get these 10% wins, 20% wins, 30% wins, instead of trying to really just kind of nail it every time, I think, and then using hustle as that tool to do that, and that kind of that conscience, like, and you can put stuff in there where it's just like, hey, like, if I make this mistake, what's the best thing to do next time? And he'll really walk you through your mistake. And it's kind of like almost like a therapist sometimes, where it's like, don't do that.
100%. That's actually one of my favorite, like, underrated kind of features about him.
Yeah.
Is it's so hard to onboard people to crypto because they get onboarded to whatever that means. Maybe they get a phantom wallet.
Yeah.
Then they're like, what do we do here? Like, what am I doing on a blockchain? I don't even know what that is. So now you can just ask the prompt. Right, you can just ask Hustle, like, what are other people doing? And you can just kind of have dialogue with him that's never existed before. So I love that feature. And another thing to realize too, that's really cool, that kind of is shocking to me too, though, is that this is all built on an Emblem Vault, right? So it is a multi-chain tokenized wallet, and so the exact same experience that you'll have on Solana is the exact same experience that you'll have on Bitcoin because we're in the wallet level.
Yeah.
So we can't have an impact on the transaction times, but everything else is the exact same. The way that you type it with him, it's the exact same layout. It'll be 100% the same for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Base. And so, a lot of these other kind of AI products out, they have to integrate with an Xverse or a Phantom or all these other ones. And so their latency and just the features that they'll be able to have and the experience is going to differ just based on their wallet provider. So huge advantage that Emblem has that I think is pretty underrated. We haven't really kind of broadcasted that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't wait till the Bitcoin integration happens because we know Bitcoin blocks are slow as hell sometimes, but it's also kind of like in my mind already, I'm thinking about how slow Bitcoin is. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for a 20% pullback. That's like just too much waiting altogether, right? Like you're just like, okay, I caught one now. I'm waiting. Just tell like the conditional with Bitcoin, hey, Hustle. Just buy me this much $1 billion cat once it pulls back 20%. I just go do my thing. I come back in like 5 hours because that's probably how long it takes for Bitcoin. No, I'm just kidding. But and it's done, right? And then I'll say just sell it once it goes up 30%. So I think it can make life a lot easier for people that trade on the Bitcoin blockchain.
100%. And I mean, we built him to be an on-chain assistant, someone that assists you with your broad general transactions. And the fact that he's actually a decent trader and has, on-chain intelligence in real time like he does is kind of like a huge testament to how good of an on-chain assistant in general he is. We didn't build him to be a pro trader. And so the fact that he even has kind of any awareness and capability that he actually is proven to have is pretty shocking. So I think that he's in a good spot, actually.
Yeah. And earlier we were kind of talking about how potentially taking the emotions out of it, right? Like you just if it drops, you buy more, right? You buy it at one point, you buy it again. Using something like Hustle, you're going to be able to take the emotions completely out of it. You're going to set a plan, and he's going to be able to do it for you. You're going to be like, hey, if it's here, buy here. If it's here, buy here. If it's here, and then just stop buying. and then, but you can even set maybe some Hail Marys to where, hey, if there's ever a wick down here, purchase it for me. So Hustle is going to be able to allow you to kind of take the emotions out of trading completely and not even be there for when it happens. Just coming back and like, oh wow, yeah, or just looking at your phone like, oh awesome, I just bought that because Hustle did it for you. Like I'm out with the family and my wallet's being actually buying something. So the conditional is going to be really amazing, especially in the future.
Yeah, conditional is cool. It's great for tracking wallets. It's great for maybe finding plays outside of or within your criteria overnight, things of that nature when you're literally not available. Some people like to trade when they're in front of a screen themselves. I'm sure some people will just continue to automate it. But I mean, just his progress so far for these early stages, it's fun. I have a good time every time I'm with him. He's super social. You see on the timeline how much kind of organic feedback, just really kind of praising the product at this stage is truly incredible. So we're really stoked about the progress that he has made and just kind of how mature he is within the AI space. I mean, we're talking about other projects that have like way more funding, way 5 times the size of the teams that we do, and Hustle's kind of maybe even a better product than a lot of them. So earliest days, but one of the cool things that we have is going to just be implementing these kind of everyday actions that everyone's looking for. Like you swap Bitcoin to Solana, you swap Solana to Ethereum. Like these change now apps, these ghosty caches, integrating one of those features where people can just move currencies between chains, and he's just the middleman, but he's completely non-custodial, and just having people kind of grow with him on chain while they're begin using him for all these kind of daily tasks that they have. So we like, there's so many things that you do on chain where it's just borrow lending or liquidity providing or anything like that. And it's kind of annoying to do the complex transactions yourself. There's so much room for user error. So to give it to Hustle, say, I want to provide liquidity in this pool this much, and it's done 5 seconds later, that's like 100x improvement on the crypto UX that we have today.
Yeah, I agree. And we got a comment from Jake that says, just give me the prompt, bro. Bro. I don't know what your experience has been with like prompting with AI, but do you feel like you've been able to optimize your prompt game with Hustle?
I don't really use him for like complex trades. You know what I mean? It depends what you're looking for him to do. Like I'm looking for more like efficiencies. I'm looking for like on-chain daily help. Really the borrow, we're really trying to key in on this borrow and lending markets and these kind of LP markets. What kind of complex things would you be looking to do, or like more kind of?
I guess and I think it'll come more once like the next updates and stuff happen with him. But being able to find new pump fund tokens, or the pump fund token of the day that has the most potential to run to $1 million to 2 million.
Were you guys on the live trading stream sesh Thursday? Wednesday?
No, nuh-uh.
No, it was fun. So I hit him with the prompt. It was you have 1 hour to retire my bloodline.
See, I would never think of that prompt though.
Yeah. What are we buying, champ? And in like 30 minutes, he actually hit the 2x, bro. He hit the 2x.
Nice.
Minutes, so that was a banger prompt. Just give him the action items. Tell him exactly what you want. No foreplay. Just get straight to it.
Love it.
Yeah, man. I'm curious about the team, right? So how's Shannon doing? We hear about the Shannon guy. I'm telling Jake, we want to get Shannon on the show, man. And he's like, he's just Devin, bro. What's it like being around someone so smart and like so talented as Shannon on a daily basis?
He's crazy, man. He's just an incredible human. He's an incredible developer, and he's just such a team player. He puts the team on his back. He's one of the strongest developers we've ever come across in the industry. I'm truly like one of the GOATs. I mean, seriously. And so, I mean, it's one of the most exciting things that we've ever done, is just to build with Shannon and just kind of see the way that he thinks and the way that he's able to push a product out and just have so many years of really insane developer experience in this crazy market, 12, 15 years is incredible. So, I mean, we're planning to put him up on the Mount Rushmore of crypto developers. I think that we'll get there. So his skills are second to none. He's a beast.
I just imagine imagine him as like Zorro from Power Rangers, just like you know what I mean. Like, so is he AI? Like we never seen him. We never.
He is Hustle. That is who Hustle is. No,
he's a unique human. I mean, he's a guy that builds for work. He builds for fun. He builds like to blow off steam. He's just like, I mean, he loves computers. He loves technology. He loves just kind of infrastructure. He's a madman. So we're lucky to have him as the resident mad scientist at Emblem Vault for sure.
Awesome.
Yep.
I kind of want to get into some of the NFT stuff, right? I'm really excited for the jump feature and everything you guys are building with that. You're going to be able to take your ordinals to potentially abstract, base. What's the other ones? It's Merlin.
Yeah. Base is the next
Arbitrum.
Solana too.
So Solana, you guys are building this on Solana as well. Because you can kind of get into that. Why Solana? I mean, their NFT platform is kind of on the low side, right? But I mean, that could change when you bring punks there.
Yeah, for sure. We just think that a lot of these Bitcoin assets are going to trade so well on Solana. So, ordinals, all these NFTs, maybe even the liquid tokens, runes, We just think that they can just maybe do such a better job, better trading experience with a, as a Solana NFT. There's not much trading activity within the Ordinals ecosystem, probably because the trading experience is just so awful, for collectibles over there. And we just think it can be like 100x improvement. So we have a chance to kind of own that market. It's tough to manage all of our products at once. We have one Shannon. If we had two Shannons, he's like 10 developers. We need like two Shannons. But it's just tough to manage the product line because we have so much that we're building. And that's another thing that makes him so kind of just incredible, is that he's able to balance all of these things and just kind of cook over here in deep knowledge work and then kind of pop back over here into a completely different environment, but just as kind of serious work. But I mean, our NFT product is the main product of the business. All of the smart wallets that Agent Hustle uses to transact, those are all vaults. Everything that we do as a business is to get more vaults out the door, and we're going to be exporting these vaults to every chain. So Solana, Cardano, at some point probably, Ethereum, Bitcoin. We're super excited about the base integrations coming up. And what Emblem, it's really kind of like an institutional product in the sense of where crypto is in terms of maturity. And, like we love the Pepe community. We grew up with the Pepe community, one of the strongest on, diehard communities in the industry online. And, they would have just had such a harder time if something like Emblem didn't exist, getting noticed, right? Because all the trading volume is on Ethereum through Emblem Vaults, because the XCP user experience was so awful. And so if we take that as kind of our North Star and say, well, that community had a ton of issues trading on their native chain, and we brought it to a much more pleasant transacting chain like Ethereum, that was a huge product for us. So where else can we do that? And another one that stands out is Ordinals to Solana. Those are so awful to trade with. If we improve the trading experience at minimal cost, which is what we're best at, we think that we can get a lot of users there. And same with Base, even cheaper than Ethereum. So at some point, we think that a great majority of the transactions can be on Base and Solana. So maybe even help our Ethereum market.
Yeah, and I actually think that the Ordinals opportunity, and I wasn't, into rare Pepes and stuff like that before, and I think that you had to be a collector, or at least like be in that Bitcoin community, 2015 through 2020 or whatever, and then you guys had high volume there, but like with the Ordinals, it kind of went mainstream in 2023, right? And then so the opportunity for you guys to replicate something maybe even 5 to 10x, which you guys had, I think, 100 million plus in volume. You guys can do something really big here, in my opinion, because now what you guys have the opportunity to do is really brand Ordinals even more for that better experience. But it's like taking a Ferrari and selling it in a popular exotic dealership or something that has multiple exotics there, or like an upscale like apparel store, just taking like a Louis Vuitton over there. So you guys have this opportunity. Is that how you view it as well, or do you think that's skewed?
Yeah, and just we were there at the beginning of Ordinals. The spreadsheet days, they call them, the spreadsheet era. Bitcoin Punks, a lot of these early ones before they were on exchanges, they traded through Emblem Vaults. So through the Emblem collections and things like that. So we were definitely there at the very beginning. They got some infrastructure pretty quick, but it turns out that the infrastructure just wasn't very good, right? And never really improved from those days. And so I think early on within those days, it would have been harder to get the Solana product through the door, just because everyone on Bitcoin just wanted to stay on Bitcoin at all costs. And now you're kind of seeing the communities open up to kind of whatever will expand the community a little bit, whether it's trying to move through like Rune Mine on Solana or something like that, or just kind of get more liquidity, more users through the door. And so now we're pretty sure that the Solana product will be much easier to get through the door and actually have some pretty good traction. So just kind of like the wait and see sometimes within these new ecosystems is just plays to your benefit. It would have been much harder to convince the Bitcoin ecosystem of a Solana product a year ago than it is today.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. Especially you've seen it kind of already being successful in ways with Rune Mine, like you mentioned as well. So you guys are basically taking Solana. I was just over there looking at the NFTs the other day, and I think Mad Lads are probably the most popular one. You saw the Cabal ones going right with what are they called? His
Who?
project over there. He moved it
Uh,
to Ethereum.
Oh, every time you ask, you
What's
go,
his name?
your mind
The
goes
ball
blank.
guy.
Frank,
Yeah.
D
Frank,
Gods.
yeah, Frank's the D Gods project. So there isn't really much going on Solana, NFT wise. But then the trading experience is amazing, and you take the ordinals, which I think we can all agree on that they're probably the best, right? Because they're actually on Bitcoin. They're not in an AWS warehouse somewhere. They're actually physically on the best decentralized chain in the world, and you're taking those assets and actually giving them a better trading experience, which I think is awesome on places like Solana and Base. Do you think this could potentially pump the prices of these ordinal projects?
I mean, I think that they'll definitely expand the community, and that what that does to price is kind of up to the communities. But I think that that's our best shot
Yeah.
at expanding them. The way that I look at it is that, we want digital goods, and digital goods should be borderless. They shouldn't be kind of confined to a single blockchain. That doesn't really make sense to me. In a digital world, you're looking to
Yeah.
export everywhere. And so it's just such an exciting way for some of these communities to kind of reach new users and new community members. Like something on the list that's much further, just in terms of action items from us, is there's a huge art community on like Tezos, right? But there's no eyeballs on Tezos. And so we can kind of, when we have a bit more free time, our hands aren't so full, we can approach some of these artists on Tezos and get them over to a blockchain that has more eyeballs and more traction, and kind of revive some of these artists in a huge way. So I mean, there's different kind of use cases of, we're not able to move the spotlight, but we're able to move these communities to the spotlight, and that's pretty incredible. That's kind of a really cool business model that I think is kind of underrated. Like we told the D Gods that we could do the migration for them. It would be cheap, it would be easy, and there was always a backdoor to get them back to the chain if they wanted to, in the case that they wanted to migrate back. I mean, we would have done it just with our infrastructure costs. It would have been like, I don't know what they paid, but I'm sure ours would be like 90% less of what they paid. And you wouldn't have had, the mess of moving back and forth and here and there. You could have just unvaulted back to your native chain with no friction. So
Yeah.
it was clear to us it was an easy product win for us, but the team went with kind of a more mature and different approach. But
what you said about borderless and frictionless, I agree with you. And our space is so weird in that way, to where, you have to look at it from two different aspects, maybe three actually. So assets themselves, then you have, the liquidity. So the assets relates to kind of the chain environment. Then you have the liquidity that they want to just keep in their own chain and environment. Then you have like a business, like creating a business, and everything on the first two that I said goes against like business fundamentals of how you make things easy to use for people. You get what I'm saying? And so I think that's where that gap has been for crypto and onboarding, is because now finally I feel like Emblem has been ahead of their time, because now you're starting to see account abstraction, chain abstraction, because they get it now. It's about user experience for mass adoption. And so now I finally think that these assets can live wherever they need, like wherever the demand is. It doesn't matter. And that's how you're going to thrive and brand it and stuff. And you guys are actually doing that with your business by building on Solana, building on EVM chains. Bitcoin is kind of base a little bit, you know what I mean, for you guys, home base. So does that make sense?
yeah, totally agree. I mean, it's really just the free market of play, right? And kind of a good way to Jake talks about these ecosystems as kind of countries, but you can even break it down further and be like cities. You can buy a car for this price in this city, or you can buy a car for 10% cheaper, but it's a 20-minute drive or something like that. Well, and just drive it over. It's the same car. You're not changing the car. That sounds like a pretty good deal. So you're able to find efficiencies throughout these different ecosystems, and that'll kind of become more apparent as these borrow lend markets kind of open up more. And maybe you have Pokemon cards that are kind of super valuable, but the borrow lend percentage rates are much higher on Bitcoin than they are on Ethereum for the day, or vice versa. You can kind of swap and kind of arbitrage those borrow lend rates. And even the marketplaces, right? There's more liquidity on some, so you can get better prices and things of that nature across these different blockchains. It's difficult maybe for some to see, just because we don't have that many digital items, and none of the kind of financial services infrastructures on chain are very mature. But once those become more apparent, it's going to be obvious that you're going to need assets to move between different blockchains. And so one thing that's pretty exciting, kind of relevant and funny, is that, you know, we were talking with another AI product builder similar to Hustle, and they were Adam was going over some of the features, and he was talking about like having a built-in NFT bridge, because that's what Emblem is basically, right? Vaulting. And he was like, what would we ever bridge NFTs for? I can't think of any reasons. And it's just like, well, I mean, the reasons will find you, but you have to build for that future, because these digital assets are definitely going to be moving between blockchains. And just to see that reaction, hear that reaction from, you know, someone that's building in that space is pretty funny. There's only one NFT kind of bridge in the industry at this point. It's Emblem Vault. And so if any of these AI platforms want to move you know, NFTs between blockchains, they have to use an Emblem Vault. There's no other infrastructure for them to use. There's other liquid token bridges. There's no NFT bridges. And so we kind of have that entire market cornered, and no one's even realized it yet. So pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's non-custodial, right? Like I'm not depositing my Ordinal into your wallet and you're giving me a receipt and I'm hoping that nothing happens to that Ordinal, right? So it's done in a very non-custodial way using LIP protocol, and I don't think people can really replicate that unless you basically just copy it, like fully copy it, right? So I think what Emma Vault's doing is going to be very successful, especially with the AI, and be able to do everything for you, and you're just not worried about what's happening in the back end. You just know that it's non-custodial and it's happening, and it shows up in your base wallet.
Exactly. That's such a good point. Like you said it, chain abstraction, account abstraction. No one's going to be choosing Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault is the only solution, so that AI autonomous agents have to use it by default at the moment. But we're also the most mature in the industry. We're the leading NFT cross-chain protocol. There's no one really that has the legacy that we do, and that like just kind of the brand and like status. You know, we're not, the protocol is trustless, but Emblem Vault is trusted, right? We've been around forever. Everyone kind of knows our brand, but the product speaks for itself. So just cool to know that, you know, it's different to try and get 1,000 humans to use Emblem Vault. It's easy to get 1,000 autonomous agents to use Emblem Vault, only because it's the best solution and pretty much the only solution.
Yeah. That just got me really bullish on Emblem, like because you don't have to convince these agents to do it. It's going to be the ops. They're going to plug it in. You know, it's going to be the API or whatever. They're going to use the tool. And I'm actually really glad that the space is going this way, because it has to if it's going to survive. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to. So you guys placed your bets like years ago, and it paid off some then, but I feel like it's really going to pay off big now, like in the next couple of years for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know Shannon. He's one of the GOATs. He's one of those guys that'll be in Emblem Vault. I mean, he's been building Emblem Vault forever, but it's like that 10-year overnight success. Like, holy shit, where did that come from? If only we would have seen that coming, we would have invested in it. It's just like, I mean, these things are hidden in plain sight. You have to look for them, right? They're not just going. If you're not doing your deep dives, if you're not understanding how the industry operates on the back end and kind of what the infrastructure is actually doing and who the big players are, I mean, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. So yeah, Emblem's building for the 10-year overnight success for sure.
And for the project that told you guys, like, or like just said it out loud, like, what do you guys need to bridge NFTs? I mean, there's a guy who bridged an alien node monkey to Ethereum and took out I think it was Blast. He took out the biggest loan, one of the biggest loans ever against that alien node monkey on Blast. I mean, right there is a use case alone to potentially take the Bitcoin shroom. You know, you're probably not going to get a loan for that. I mean, big enough loan to make it worth it on Liquidium, but you might be able to get that on Blast and these other Ethereum, which have a lot of volume and a lot of money over somewhere else, right? So right there alone, you know, just because you can't get a loan on it, and to your point or from earlier, in this country, if you take that same asset to another country, you can get a loan out it that's actually worth it.
Facts. And I mean, it gets so interesting because the Emblem product is so versatile. Like, it's great for these curated collections, these single one-off items, these rare items, but it's like so amazing for rare sets, or like a full set of curio cards, or a basket of alien punks and maybe some ape punks or something like that, just like a rare assortment or a steamed collection. And then you package it as in an Emblem Vault, and then depending on which chain you take it to, that unique basket can fetch totally different LTVs. Like, someone on Bitcoin might put up a huge number against that compared to Solana ecosystem or something like that. So it's just really giving the power to the creators, and just kind of, we're just sitting back and building the infrastructure. One of our favorite things to do is, or just to say is, we don't know what everyone's going to be using these for. We just know that they're going to be using them. We're just building it to be useful. And that seems to be a pretty solid North Star so far.
So technically, could I create like a index fund by vaulting multiple things and then like launching a token on like another chain, and like this backs it? Or it would have to, it would, I wouldn't be able to launch a token, right? It would still have to be like just a basket of NFTs as an NFT.
Yeah, you can launch a basket, and then you can tokenize against it. So you can like unlock a collection or whatever you would want to, and then you can launch a token against it, and it could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
The kind of index funds ideas, it'd be easy to kind of just have like a starter kit of crypto. Like someone says, what do I need if I'm just getting started in crypto? Maybe having like a starter basket of a little Bitcoin, a little Ethereum, a little meme coins or something like that, just a general basket offering. It's kind of an on-chain way to do like those index funds or those kind of exchange traded products for sure.
Yeah, and can you guys like time lock rune? You can time lock runes and stuff, right?
Of course.
So potentially, I could take the top 10 runes, take like 1,000 hours of each, lock them in there, tokenize those vaults into a coin, and now that one token represents those 10 runes. So if one goes down and one goes up, potentially it's going to be a way for you to be able to have exposure to these assets without having to just pick one. You can just pick them all and just buy that one coin.
Yeah, or like an interesting use case is like maybe you have an alien CryptoPunk, and you have the digital twin of the alien V1 punk, maybe like an extremely rare set. You can time lock those forever, and so that they'll always be traded forever. They'll never be separated. So interesting things like that collectors just generally love. Like if you're a super wealthy collector, a lot of times you just don't want your collection split. That's like your biggest fear in the world. That's all your worldly possessions. You want them to trade forever. When in Emblem Vault, they can trade together forever without any counterparty risk.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, exciting stuff coming, that's for sure. Is there anything that we haven't hit on? We hit on hustle, we hit on the jump feature that's going to be coming. Is there anything that we haven't hit on that you'd like to touch on?
I think that just kind of like one of the base integrations is kind of what's most exciting. Going to a new chain that's got some pretty good traction. We haven't been present on base. There's a lot of good community support over there, so hopefully can catch some pretty good engagement and just kind of community building from the base ecosystem. We're excited to bring our product over there. There's a lot of great innovators over there, and so I'm hoping that we can kind of network and build a pretty cool base community. We have some collections we want to bring over that have been kind of asking us for a while, so it'll be cool to get through the door. And I mean, we're just excited to wake up every day and just build out the Emblem product stack. I mean, we're at the forefront of the best technology in the world, the most transformational technology in modern history. I don't know. I couldn't imagine doing everything else any single day. I wanted to ask you guys, I mean, I know we obviously spent a lot of time in the Bitcoin ecosystem, kind of switched up the name. The rebrand is nice. It's actually super subtle and really well done. So I think OnChain Revolution actually works even better. What are you guys keeping an eye on? What's exciting over on your guys' end? What are people doing on chain? What's going on?
You want to kick it off, Shizzy?
Yeah, for me, it's the Tau ecosystem. With the alpha tokens now, the dynamic Tau or DTAU. What they're doing over there is, I think Emblem could actually maybe one day get a subnet where people are loading up, giving you guys compute in exchange for some of these alpha tokens, and what that can do, that can power AI without having to pay. Like for you guys, for instance, I know the credits, the infra credits are really expensive, but having a subnet potentially could, like someone like me, I can load my computer up, give you guys compute, and then powering hustle. I think what what they're doing over on Tau is actually phenomenal. And with Tau being 21 million, just like Bitcoin, I truly believe that Tau could be number 2 behind Bitcoin eventually down the line as a number 2 token, because these subnets now, all it really is you're locking up the Tau token in exchange, and then they become alpha token. So it's really just liquid tau, stake tau, and you're getting these alpha tokens that are actually liquid, but they cannot be like, they're not a real token. Like they can't just be taken to an exchange and stuff like that. Doesn't know how that works. So it's like, it's something we've never seen before. So the tau ecosystem, I feel like I spent thousands of hours already, and I've only like got like 10% of the knowledge. It's pretty wild what's happening over there. And I've been spending a lot of time really kind of like trying to come up with a plan on when to get these alpha tokens and stuff like that. But that's just something that I've been digging into. And
System?
what's that?
That's BitTensor?
Yeah, BitTensor.
Well, I haven't spent enough time in that ecosystem, it sounds like. Yeah, I didn't even
Yeah,
know
it's
what was going on
it's
like that.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Like now I'm starting to get a little bit of the hang of the subnets and kind of trading in and out of like more upside opportunity ones, trying to get into that because the top ones have been exhausted a little bit. But yeah, I agree with Shizzy. I think this is going to be really big. But I'm also just noticing, all the building that's happening within the Bitcoin ecosystem from other layers. So that chain abstraction type of thing. We see it with Odin, ICP. ICP's all like excited. Dominic's all talking. He's the founder. He's all like, oh, ICP again is, supporting like a Bitcoin platform now or whatever, And so that as well as Near. And then also kind of seeing like the BTC Fi, Zeus Network just launched. We were able to meet with those guys, and it's mainly kind of utilizing your Bitcoin to be able to earn on yield on Solana or do things, with your Bitcoin on Solana. And yeah, like the EVM side of stuff, like Base is definitely something that like we pay attention to. And then kind of waiting to see what happens with Ethereum, right? Because like I feel like it's like, I actually feel like it's like gonna be like, it's right now one of the best buys because it's like so cheap and people are still crapping on it. But then you see like large purchases by institutions. So to me, that's a no brainer that like it's going to bounce back. It might not hit that $10,000 price prediction, even by the end of the year, but you're going to do well, in my opinion. 3x, something like that, 3 to 5x. We'll see.
The Ethereum story is one of the greatest stories in technology. A complete underdog that, Vitalik left Bitcoin, built Ethereum, and built, the second greatest asset in the digital world. He kind of pioneered the smart contract. He's been battle tested with the most decentralized chain and most decentralized builder network on the planet. It's truly like one of the great marvels of our time. And if you go on crypto Twitter, you think this is like a piece of junk that should be like thrown away because the price has gone down. It's like one of the funniest, stories in the industry.
And think of the builders that started there, right? We're talking Gavin Wood, we're talking Charles Hawkinson, we're talking, the guys from Consensus, and how many projects came out of the founder. I mean, we talk about the PayPal mafia with Elon Musk and David Sachs and those guys. The Ethereum mafia is probably going to be way richer one day for sure.
And I mean, like Bitcoin had the same kind of anti-fragile moment. No one in the crypto industry liked Bitcoin. Ripple was lobbying to get proof of work banned. Ethereum went to proof of stake. They tried to exile it. That's how unpopular Bitcoin was, and kind of the mechanism behind Bitcoin. It was completely kind of banished from like the crypto tech industry. It was useless. It was just a pet rock. It was a worse digital gold. And then now it's the only thing that kind of matters in the industry today until Ethereum has its next rise in popularity. But institutions are the best at, convincing retail to sell the bags that they're buying. And, these narrative shifts, they just go so quick. Ethereum is definitely one of the best buys in the ecosystem. This is kind of a funny parallel. Trump with tariffs, media frenzy, just criticizing his every move, and maybe won't even let him see the finished product if he kind of like bows to the demands of the media. Same thing with Vitalik and the layer 2 narratives. He laid out this narrative years ago, and he's been building towards this kind of layer 2 future that all feeds back into the Ethereum protocol. People are upset that the price has gone down, similar to how the stock markets are going down right now. But no one's seeing the end vision that he's been building for the last 4 years, 5 years. And so he stayed steadfast, which is important in a leader to kind of see your vision through. And we're kind of at that phase. And it's not like he doesn't have any triggers in case it doesn't pan out the way that he wants to. He can spin up an official Ethereum layer 2 other than Base if he wanted to, that only accepts the Ethereum token. That's another play. He can box out every other layer 2 overnight if he really wanted to. No one wants to build on Arbitrum. No one really wants to build on ZK, whatever stack. They all want to build on Ethereum. It's just a price point that they're trying to get to. And so he can shut out all the layer 2s if he really wanted to. That's not even a worry. So he has plenty of options on the table, and he's staying steadfast and seeing his vision through. And I think that, people need to give him credit and kind of just let him cook.
Yeah, and like for instance, this Pectra update, right? This is a layer 2 update. This is really doesn't do much for layer 1. I mean, everything that in it is helps with roll-ups and rolling up transactions for Base, and Base is going to be doing like I think it's like 100x more transactions be able to roll up and put it on Ethereum. And you got to remember, like Sonium is building on ETH, Coinbase building on ETH. A lot of projects are now using optimistic rollups to build these L2s on top of ETH. Deutsche Bank is building an L2 on ETH. We're hearing Strike, one of the biggest payment providers in the world, are building on ETH too. Like, it's just like, all right, so maybe ETH1 is just that layer 0. Then you have all these L1s on top, like kind of like Polkadot, right? I just think that what he's building isn't for your dApp chain. You can use it; it's going to be expensive, but that's the premium chain. If you're going to use stuff like borrowing and lending, you do it. You want to do it very safely and the best security. Use ETH1, but for everything else, to play PlayStation games, you're using Sonium. For doing stuff quickly on Base, you use the Base. But he's building this network, and it's continuously, especially with this next upgrade.
Yeah, and I mean, these narratives, they shift so quickly. Bitcoin was the expensive chain for a long time, and Ethereum was the low fee chain, and then now Ethereum is the expensive chain, and Solana. And I'm a huge Solana fan. Kind of grew up in the Solana ecosystem pretty heavy from its darkest days, and I'm a bigger Ethereum fan. I mean, the decentralized component of the network is invaluable. It's priceless. That can't be kind of reconfigured. And, if you want to guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that the transaction is going to go through, if it's a life and death matter, you're not going to choose Solana. You're going to choose Ethereum. And so that difference makes all the difference when it matters. That is the only thing. Can I put a transaction through if my life depends on it? And that's something that pretty much only Ethereum has at the moment because of the block times of Bitcoin. You have to wait 10 minutes. Sure, you can guarantee that it'll go through at some point, but you don't know necessarily when. With Ethereum, you can always pay more to make sure that you're guaranteed to get through. So funny issue that they have over there. And I think just kind of, letting the ecosystem mature. They had this vision of Ethereum long before anyone even had a vision of what a blockchain would be. And so to kind of, for so many bystanders and so many people in the industry to say that they don't have the vision and they've kind of like lost touch with reality and things like that. Maybe they have on like the narrative. I think that they have lost the narrative, and they face, pretty serious competition in something like Solana, but they have to just play to their strengths. They haven't played to their strengths at all. They've just kind of been going through the motion. So I think that's kind of, it's a choice that they clearly made. I don't know if they're happy with it or not, but they made the choice and they just went heads down and built. So we'll have to see the finished product, but I can't really criticize them for how far they've come against all odds.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The founder is sniffing dog butt or robot dog butt.
He's always been like that, though. He's always been.
You got to think differently.
Yeah, he used to do those corny dances and stuff last cycle, all that stuff. But it kind of shows where our maturity of our industry is kind of. I feel like we're coming out of it, but like where it was the past 2 years, because it's all about money. It's all about liquidity. So like Solana captured the spotlight because of liquidity. Let's be honest, that's what it was. And people had already been degenning on Ethereum for so long, and then it was like the L2 thing. But like once Solana had that liquidity capture last year, that's when everybody started crapping on it because it was messing with like their ETH bags, and then the Solana guys were like, because like their meme coins and stuff were running. But that in my opinion, that's such a short term like mentality, and I think Solana will have success in the future. Yes, we know there's a centralized component to it, like everybody knows that, but it has the liquidity. And that's where we are as a maturity level for our space. But I think we get more mature as like people start to zoom out. Our space becomes more mature over time, and then mass adoption starts to happen too. So,
Facts.
But
This I mean, like 18 months ago, the entire Ethereum ecosystem was calling the entire Solana ecosystem poor and useless.
yeah,
And like that was like 18 months ago. I mean,
Yeah.
life comes at you extremely quick. You know what I mean? So
100%.
And
they're all so short term, and so that's why as a builder you stay in the middle. You know, you just don't let the highs get to you, don't let the lows get to you, and you just stick to your guns. So I'm rooting for Vitalik. I'm super bullish on Ethereum. Some of these assets, like their best attributes, are like something kind of like non-traditional, like just being super liquid. Like if you're a billionaire, you can't even really buy Solana. What is it, $80 billion market cap, something like that? You can't buy $1 billion, $2 billion with Solana. You can buy $1 billion or $2 billion of Bitcoin. You can buy $1 billion of Ethereum. Like one of gold's best attributes is that it's liquid for any institution. You know, Fidelity, they have $1 trillion. They can put $200 billion into gold. No other asset can take that amount of capital. And so those are kind of like the golds of the crypto industry, just super liquid, trade all across the world 24 hours a day. So if you want to move serious money, if you're looking to put, you know, billions of dollars to work, Solana might be like a viable option, but it's mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum and nothing else in the industry, just because their sheer size is too small.
Yeah, and to be real though, like it wasn't Solana who won, right? It was Pump that fund. Like it's all about that killer DApp, right? Without
I don't
Pump,
know.
we
Solana
probably
was
wouldn't see.
I had like
Huh?
a year-end prediction before like 2024, so going into 2024 before Pump, and it was like the biggest DApp of the year will be built on Solana. But that's because that's like what the infrastructure allows for: cheap,
That's
fast,
true.
good experience transactions. So whether it wasn't Pump, it would have been something else because the experience is so good.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
talk about a comeback, man. So like, if Ethereum has any type of comeback similar to Solana's, it's going to be huge. So,
But I mean, to your guys' point, like it is one app though. Like Ethereum will get their one app. It is the one app, but Solana was an easy choice for it because the experience is so good. It was kind of obvious that a app would pop up that would be pretty good, and they had like Step In before that, which got a lot of mainstream
Yeah, I was walking around my neighborhood. And
Yeah.
it was-
Shizzy lost
He was
60,
on, he was
he
just
lost
mopping
60 pounds and $50,000 in that coin. No, I'm just kidding.
gained it all back. No,
That's-
but I did remember on that app, I withdrew, I think it was like 5.5 Solana, and it gave me 55 Solana.
Well,
And
that's
then I was
good.
like,
That's
just
good
done
app.
with the app.
Good app.
Because it had to be a centralized thing with the withdrawal, because someone made a mistake there. And I was, after that, I was like, all right, if I put money in there, they might take it back. So
We
with
need
that
more
wallet,
apps like
so
that. We need more apps like that. All right.
Well,
Who's building that one?
that's probably why they went bankrupt, right? I mean, I don't know, but
We need more builders like that. So if you see any, let me know.
All right, Chris, man, it's been absolutely amazing, man. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate Emblem being a partner of ours. But love to give you the floor one last time to kind of talk to our community.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, just a lot of the progress is made behind the scenes, you know, in that kind of in the shadows. And you know, Emblem is like a super innovative company. We're extremely small, like 6 team members. We punch way above our weight, and we're just out here building every single day. So appreciate the support always. And, you know, definitely check out Agent Hustle if anyone hasn't checked out our A platform. Is literally one of the most performant products on the market. We're going to be doing demos every week, pretty much, live trading competitions, things of that nature. But everyone always says that they want, like, where are the crypto products? And then like people launch cool crypto products, and it's extremely hard to get like a bunch of new people to use it just in general. That's just like the nature of humanity. So we want something, but no one wants to like experiment. Just try it. Like if you're out there, you're just looking for a cool crypto product to try. You think the progress that the ecosystem isn't making any kind of progress, use Agent Hustle. It's like a 0 to 1 moment for how you interact on chain. So extremely excited about all the things that we're building, and cool to see you guys kind of blowing up and doing your thing, man. It's always good to chat and catch up. You guys are crushing it.
Appreciate that, sir. Yeah, man. For sure, guys, try Agent Hustle. I promise you, like, I'm not the best at like testing things at first. It takes me a little bit, but Agent Hustle is really straightforward. So make sure you can accomplish all the challenges too, because that should help you out for the future. But Chris, again, thank you so much for spending time with us and our community. And have a great weekend, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Talk soon.
All right, bye.
Yeah, man. Another successful week. I'll tell you what, man. I'm exhausted, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready to just turn off some crypto and just kind of touch grass. I mean, it's spring now
Yeah.
here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure it's hotter over there in Texas. So
Yeah, well, not yet, but it's getting there. But
yeah,
I'm sure you'll touch grass for about 30 minutes and then go run to
yeah.
your
I don't
phone.
like.
Don't be
You're 100%
lying.
right.
Don't be
You're 100%
lying.
right.
No,
Oh
no, but
man.
like Agent Hustle, like wives might actually like Agent Hustle because I'll tell you what, one thing like with me and trading,
Yeah.
like I have to look at like what's going on. But
Yeah.
Agent Hustle can like just let me do put those conditional rules in there and let's see, I'm going to start off with a little bit of money and see how well it works. And maybe my wife will write a testimonial for Agent Hustle and say, hey, like this is a great thing
This saved
for
my marriage.
marriages. No, but yeah, man, it's a good week, guys. Like, yes, like it's been tough, but sometimes you gotta step away, touch grass, like Shizzy said, after a long week, and just clear your mind and get back on the grind. Once the next week starts. But we appreciate all of you guys. All 203 of you guys on a Friday. And we ask that you guys, just continually support us because we're so grateful for that, right? Like just watching the show is just such a good support that you guys do for us. And if you wouldn't mind checking out our partners, we greatly appreciate that as well. Emblem Vault is the interoperability tool. We just talked about their jump protocol, going to be able to jump your puppets, frogs, node monks from Bitcoin layer 1 to Merlin chain, base, Arbitrum, abstract, going to be big as well. And eventually Solana, you heard it from Chris. And then as well, you're going to be able to utilize Agent Hustle eventually to be able to vault those ordinals for you, kind of take out the tedious work, and he'll take care of that. And don't forget, they have their TGE Bitcoin Rune, which is going to be their official Emblem Vault token coming out in September. And you actually can participate in a pre-sale for that right now with their Emblem Founder Vault keys on OpenSea right now. It is an ERC 721, but once the TGE comes, you'll be able to move those runes out of that vault into your Bitcoin wallet. You can learn about all that at emblem.vision. And BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets right away on their markets. They have their Blitz markets, which is really fun right now. You can actually kind of long or short Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana. It gives you there's a 10-minute countdown clock, and you need to pay attention to that because once that 10 minutes is up, you got to place your bet if it's going to go up or down. It'll lock in that price depending on what you put once it actually goes all the way down with that clock. And then an additional 10 minutes will determine if you won or lost. But it's really fun, but be responsible with that, of course. And they have some great features coming, guys. They got a lot of stuff. These are one of those builders as well. And all of our partners, honestly, that's why we go through our vetting process. Look, we've been partners with some of these guys for over a year, and they have just been really responsible with their project in terms of burn rate and all that stuff. They are still building, guys. So make sure you check out BetBTC at betbtc.win for more information there. And then Artura Finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Pretty soon, you're going to be able to trade on Hemi mainnet Bitcoin layer 2, which is backed by Binance. So there's a lot of confidence from Binance in these guys from Hemi, but Artura is going to be building there. So you're going to be able to trade synthetic versions of Sats, Ordi, Doggo to the Moon, and eventually some tokens outside of the ecosystem like XRP and Tau. Talked about Tau. So go to their testnet right now. It's on the Botonics chain, the Spider chain, which is another Bitcoin layer 2. But if you just make one trade, you can go into a raffle for some of their TGE in the future. But you can learn about all this at artura.finance. And look out for the roundtable too. We're going to do that next week probably, but we'll update you guys on that. And then Fluid tokens. We just talked about their updates today, guys. That Aquarium bridge should be done very soon. So you're going to be able to bridge eventually your FLDT Rune to Cardano, or your FLDT Cardano token to Bitcoin as a Bitcoin Rune. These guys are constantly building in both ecosystems, and I expect them to really put their footprint even outside of those two ecosystems. But yeah, if you are a founder of an ordinal collection or you etched a rune with an established community, head over to their Discord, guys. Get plugged in, ask the questions that you need to ask to get a staking vault set up for you and your community, and they'll hook you up. You can learn more at fluidtokens.com. And Merlin Chain, the #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder and you want your protocol to be a bit more flexible and quick, you can build on Merlin Chain. They got great builder support there. If you are a retail user and you want to trade for Doggo to the moon, you can do so at merlinswap.org, as they have a strong liquidity pool for Dog over there. Also, don't forget, you can help secure the chain in their proof of stake staking system. If you have Merlin tokens, you can earn 15% APR, and eventually they're going to be adding Bitcoin to that proof of stake as well. We'll update you as soon as we get information on that. You can learn all about that at merlinchain.io. And lastly, don't forget about our integrated partners in Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker, which we live stream every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We haven't done it the past 2 weeks because they are still updating the game. But once they get that update completed, we'll update you, and everybody's invited. All you need is an acceptable wallet, all the Bitcoin wallets, and I believe Phantom and MetaMask as well. And then Ordinal Hive is the Ordinal aggregator marketplace on Bitcoin layer 1 and layer 2 with outstanding trader tools as well, like my live mempool insights. Make sure you shop at Ordinal Hive for the cheapest ordinals around. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys wouldn't mind spending a few more minutes and going over to OnChainRevolution.io, some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, and every single person who's watching the show should have a VPN, guys. If you're in Bitcoin whatsoever, have a VPN. Don't be going to these sketchy sites. Just giving you away your IP address that can actually lead to your address. Get a VPN. I love Nord. It's my personal favorite. There's free ones out there. You can pretty much find a free one, but this is not good. I've used them all. I always come back to Nord. It's like $3 a month. I think I paid for the year. I think it was like $36. So definitely, if you're interested, use our link here. If you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 in Vegas, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But do not wait until May to get your tickets. Get them as soon as possible. And definitely get them through us, get them through our website over here. And if you guys need merch for that event or any event, we click our little store tab there, and then I'll take you to our merch store where you guys can pretty much get anything from hats, jackets, to hoodies, anything. If you guys want us to add something, just let us know. We pretty much add anything. It's all done through a third party. So that is everything here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And on that note, see you Monday.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution, roll call, market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go, Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear traps. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.